Welcome to the Business of Hollywood podcast. This is a show featuring insider advice from Hollywood for today's entrepreneurs. Working actors make up less than 10% of the actor population in Hollywood. They have to deal with rejection, network, brand themselves, market themselves, sell themselves, and more. Today's entrepreneurs have to do the same things. If they can make it in Hollywood, you can make it as an entrepreneur. Today, we're going to be discussing an interesting subject. When tough times hit, it can be hard to maintain a successful mindset. Your inner critic can take over along with a host of other negative things. I discuss strategies to maintain a successful mindset in those situations with my guest, Dajuan Johnson. Dajuan is a working television actor, certified life coach, and founder of Think Bigger Coaching. Best known for his 7-season run as Detective Rondell Pierce on Bosch and Bosch Legacy, Dajuan currently recurs as Detective Noah Oakley on NCIS Origins and has appeared in shows including Grey's Anatomy, 911, Narcos, Suits, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and Disney's Electric Bloom. Through Think Bigger Coaching, he helps actors build the mindset and skills to book more consistently and create lasting careers. We dive into topics including why your inner critic or gremlin exists and how to overcome its voice in your head, how to shift your mindset to avoid downward spirals, how to build and foster a supportive community around yourself to lean on during the tough times, the one thing above all else that you need to do to maintain a successful mindset during tough times, and other golden nuggets of advice. You're going to love this show. Dajuan, thank you for making time to do the Business of Hollywood podcast. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
And today we're going to be talking about something that's near and dear to my heart, how to maintain a successful mindset even in tough times. But before we get into tips, tricks, strategies, and all that good stuff, what's your story with that topic? Where's it coming from for you?
Well, you know what? Like, I love mindset. Thanks for asking me. I used to be called, well, I am called the mindset guy in the industry because I believe that everything begins and ends with mindset. I always say, like, to my actors that, your mindset will, your talent, I should say, will get you to one place. Like, it'll help you book or get to the thing you've been wanting, but your mindset will keep you there. Your mindset is the thing that you have to, like, feed over and over and over again. I've been on set many times where if I didn't have or work on my mindset, I would have imploded. I would have imploded easily, easily. So I love the topic of mindset.
Okay, let's go there. Where does a successful mindset in tough times, where does the mindset begin? Where does it even start?
Yeah, you know what the thing is, mindset before has to begin before the tough time. I mean, you can definitely do it, when you get in it. But if you're going to, it's something that I've been working on since I was in college. It all started with this book called "Don't Sweat the Small Stuff," and it's all small stuff that you're working on before that. And they had this one little thing where they were talking about, driving in traffic and somebody cuts you off, and instead of always being upset about that you can just be like, that person must be in a hurry. So I bring that up to say, like, working on your mindset even while you're in a good time, right? Because you're saying tough times will help when you get to those tough times. So it needs to be something that you work on. We work on what's called the gremlin, which is a little voice that is, you might have heard it called an inner critic, or you might have heard, whatever anybody else calls it. We call it the little gremlin. And I work really hard on that little inner voice telling us lies or telling us why we're not going to succeed. And if we don't, talk about that beforehand or work on that beforehand, when we get into those tough times, the ship will sink. For example, one of the things that is big is when you're in this business, gosh, I've had my business Think Bigger Coaching for 13 years. It feels like now 13 years if I'm doing the math in public. And there's a lot of ups and downs in those times. There's a lot of financial ups and downs. There's a lot of teams that come and go. And one of the things that I know to be true is don't be afraid to change courses. Don't be afraid to, like, when those tough times are happening, change courses. Now, what am I thinking about that is the gremlin will tell you, you suck. You failed. You know what? This is only happening to you. Like, look at everybody else thriving. That's what the gremlin's telling you. Those are the messages that you get, and you feel like a failure. But one of the things that I've worked on and having a great team around me and people around me is like understanding that, like, this is business. I can change course. I had a team of 5. Now I have a team of 2. You know what I mean? It sucks. I want to do that. So don't be afraid to change course and talk to yourself. Talk to yourself, or yourself will talk to you, and yourself will talk louder.
So when you hit a situation in life like that, and it's time to change course, what do you suggest? How do you start to change course? How do you actually change course successfully?
Yeah, right. I think everybody thinks of a change course like I gotta like start a new business or I gotta like do something major. I think it's really like it's just like a 1 centimeter or something, like a little type of like course correction or a pivot to, I'm if you're not watching this on YouTube or wherever your video, I'm doing a finger where I'm just going over just like a percent, just like a little percent there. And what that means is you're changing course. Like, what else is possible? What else is possible? If I wanted, great, this isn't working out the way can I try to do this other thing in my business? Can I help, the people that another demographic in my business? How do you change that piece in there? So it's like one of those things.
So once you change course, how do you maintain a new course?
Well, easily. You have to change that course and just see if well, first of all, maybe you don't like it. What if you don't like it? What if you change? Again, I want to be clear, right? Because there's a lot of things that I've changed courses on. And then I'm like, this is not the way I want to go. So that might be another mindset thing that I'll say out loud is that don't be afraid to, if it's not working out, to pick up and do something else again. Like, I think you have to be very agile in business. You know what I mean? Like, and you have to, like, the beautiful thing about small businesses like we are, is that you can change. Like a big Macy's, you got to run it up the flagpole, or McDonald's or something like that. Yeah, it
Of
doesn't.
course.
We can't change as easy.
So define agile. What makes somebody agile?
Again, able to go with the flow, able to change, able to be course correct, able to think it's just not you, able to work like, so right now in the entertainment industry, what we're going through is a contraction. I think a lot of people might say that's happening in the world. Contraction, people aren't spending as much money right now, the auditions aren't coming like that, and you can probably see yourself in whatever business you are, some things are pulling back. But if you can be a little bit like, okay, great. What's next? Maybe the way I think of agile is almost like double Dutch. Like, all right, we're gonna go here. We're like going back and forth. What do we need to do to stay afloat? And maybe that means downsizing, like I said earlier. Maybe that means really offering something else. Maybe it means like really doubling down on the people that you have, the clients that you have in your business. I think you can do some of that stuff a little bit better, a little bit easier when we're a small business.
So when you're I love what you said. I love the idea of the gremlin, the inner critic. When it comes to the gremlin, how do you defeat it? And the question is also, do you replace the gremlin? Do you just quiet the gremlin? Do you do both?
Yeah, the cool thing about that, is, the gremlin work is never done. And you are, so let me back up. So, when the gremlin it was created at a time that you needed to feel safe. It's not something that's like this mean thing that's bad, right? And it just is something that was there to, when you were younger, just like, oh, let me help you with this disappointment. Let me help you with this whatever you needed to keep safe. So for example, sometimes when like I said, when I'm dealing with money, I can hear it like, you're the only person that this is going through. That could have been something that somebody else had said to you, or you heard, or whatever that is. That's that gremlin voice there. So when I'm talking about that is talk to it, and you get to, we go through a whole process of naming our gremlin. My gremlin's name is Bruce. So that if you can name it and if you can talk to it, you understand that it's not all of you. It's just a part of you. Right. And so if it's just a part of you, that means I can talk to it. And I'm usually like, all right, Bruce, thank you for keeping me safe. I know we had that trouble with money before, but I'm an adult. I'm a business person. I can handle it from here. So we're never going to eradicate that stuff, but it is going to get smaller. The property of a gremlin is just like the Gremlins of the movie. They don't want to be seen. They don't want to have a light shined on them, because if you do, you weaken their power. You lessen their power over you.
So when
That was a
you
lot of
defeat,
information. That was a lot of information, Mark.
and it was good stuff. So I won't say defeat, but once you manage the gremlin, what's your stance on positive self-talk? Things like affirmations or conversations with yourself. Where do you stand with positive self-talk as opposed to a gremlin?
Yeah, one of the things is I feel like toxic positivity has gotten nobody wants to do that. It's gotten a bad rap because I think what people think, if you are positive or if you transform a situation, then it's toxic positivity. I don't believe in that. But what I do believe is I've done a lot of work and I have a lot of skills that I can pull out of my toolbox, my mental toolbox, that I can shift the situation a little bit faster. You must go through it. You must heal. All that stuff is very important. And also, you know, who wants to stay in the negative all the time? You know what I mean? Who wants to do that? So when I think about that, is I think about, instead of let's not look at it as positive. I think about it as, what skills do you have in place to help you shift out of this state? Something that might be hanging out with friends, that might be going on a massage or something like that, or going on a trip or whatever. You put those things in place because you don't want to just be in the thick of it with your business. You know what I mean? So you're getting out of it, you're feeding your soul, you're feeding yourself, you're feeding your mind. That in turn comes out that way.
So once you get to a good place, what can you do to maintain it? Kind of like preventative maintenance. How do you maintain it?
Maintenance is always the key, right? Like, how do you maintain any of that? Gosh, it's such a personal thing. For me, maintaining it is working backwards, is knowing when I am not in alignment, knowing when I'm triggered or something like that. So then I can do the things I was just talking about. And I guess I just want to say, because I don't want this to turn into like it's hokey, crunchy granola. Like, it's so hard to maintain something or keep balance because there's so many things at play here, you know?
So actually, going off of that, I like the word balance. What do you do to maintain balance?
I don't think there's such a thing as balance. I think that we have balance in so many things. Like right now, I'm balancing, like I'm talking to you as my little puppy's running around me. So like, there's so many things going on. It's just, how do you manage that? Like, you know what I mean? How do you manage those things?
So where does when you let's get into the weeds a little bit. Your day starts off bad. What do you do? How do you make it? How do you make that shift? It's starting out and it can easily go into a downward spiral. How do you prevent a spiral when you're like, ah, crap, here it comes? What do you do?
Yeah, and again, Mark, here's the thing. If you are thinking, this is the stuff that you work on beforehand. If you are thinking my day is bad, then guess what? It's going to be bad. This is thinking. It's like these little men or people inside of you. They're like, Mark thinks his day is going bad. And then I show you all things that are bad. And then, you ever seen that where you have comparison bias? It's like, oh, I dropped the book and the book is bad, or I slammed the door and it hurt my ear, like whatever it is, like you do that. So it's really important that, like, I think about that in the sense of like, okay, Dewan, you are experiencing what feels like a bad day. Like, what do you want to do with the rest of this? You know what I mean? How do you want to turn this around? What do you want to like what's in place? Okay. We need to make more money or more revenue in this. I can't do that from a locked place. So I have to shift that. And so for me, again, not toxic positivity, but it's like, what else is possible? What else am I thinking here? It's really important for me, Mark, to continue to raise my vibration. It's really important for me to do that. Go ahead. You're going to say something?
You just nailed it with raise your vibration. One thing that comes up with mindset, especially when you're talking about raising your vibration, is gratitude. Where do you stand on gratitude?
Mm.
What's been your experience with it, especially with vibration?
Gratitude changes everything. You know, I think that um, gratitude and maybe fear don't operate on the same street. So if you stop for a second and you're truly just grateful in that second, and you really just feel the gratitude, it'll help shift you. It won't change everything. We don't have a magic wand, you know what I mean? But it will help shift that help shift you and hopefully in a place that you can start to make or open up new decisions that need to be made. I'm very big on gratitude. If you do nothing else, just sitting back and saying thank you, or just sitting in, um, I'm so grateful I get to be on this conversation with you, Mark. Like that is different. Like, than right, than me leaning into my puppy running around the room. That's gratitude. I can't be upset with the puppy when I'm sitting here in gratitude. Yeah.
And going back to vibration, because not everybody uses that word.
Oof. Oof.
Unpack that a little bit. What is your vibration? And I'll use air quotes really intentionally because I'm a huge fan of vibration and all the studies around it. What does vibration mean? You explain that a little bit.
You know, a lot of what people want is I want to be. I'll cite some people that I read, and I do a lot of their teachings and stuff like that. So I don't feel like you have a place to go with that. Bob Proctor is one of the people that talks about vibration. He talks about it as in, if you think of lines on a page, if you can see this, like a blank page, lines on a page. And for the purpose of this, if you're listening to this, think about lines on a page, and the bottom is 1 and the top part is 10. So you got 1 through 10 on there. And this can go to 100 or whatever. And those lines all equal a level of vibration, if you will. I'm going to try to explain it that way. 1 is a vibration, 2 is a vibration, 3, and so forth. And those are the things that whatever you want is already here. It is just on a different vibration or on a different level, if you will. So what I like to say is a lot of people are wishing, hoping, praying for different things, but they are on a different vibration. So if I'm over here, as you said, not positive, feeling negative, feeling like nothing's going to happen for me, and then I go out to work, or I go out to try to get customers, or I go out to try to get clients or auditions in my case, if I'm in that space, I'm on a negative vibration, and I'm like, why isn't anything coming to me? Why isn't this happening? You must raise your vibration. And I'm not saying you got to go from a 1 to a 10. Something that might be even easier is, what helps us get to a 1 to a 3? Can we use that 3 to get to a 5? Like, we don't have to go with these quantum leaps. It's like, what can we do to get to those next levels? And I love one of the things that Bob Proctor always says is a lot of people are on AM radio trying to manifest what they want, but everything they want is on FM radio. It's a whole different vibration.
So with mindset and vibration in mind, actors go through it with auditions, just rejection. Entrepreneurs go with it trying to start a business.
Yes.
What do you do to deal with rejection in your world?
That's a great question. I mean, like I would say almost 90% of our business is rejection. We get over and over rejected for these things. And I don't know if this is applicable, but I'll say it this way, is that your self-worth cannot be tied up into your business. And so my self-worth is not tied up into my auditions or my bookings, so that I don't use that as rejection. Right. Sorry. So that when I get rejection, it's not weaponized against me. Does that make sense? So who you are, the work you've done as a person is so important beforehand, so that when that rejection comes, you're not thinking they're rejecting Mark, they're rejecting Dajuan. No, they're rejecting. They do whatever they want to do. I'm still an amazing person. You know what I mean? I'm still good. That has to happen beforehand. If not, all the rejection, people telling you no over and over again, will become harder and harder and harder.
So how do you work on self-worth? I love that term. What do you do to work on your self-worth and build a stronger fortitude, I'll say?
Everybody has to do that differently, but one of the big things that I do is therapy. I'm also always reading books. I'm also making sure that I am around things that make me feel good, people that make me feel good. I absolutely believe that your community is your ceiling. Of the people you're around. I'm 120% behind that. But self-worth is one of those things that everybody's going to come to that conclusion or that place their own way. You know what I mean? So I just make sure I regulate my nervous system, and I'm making sure that, like I said, I'm around those other things and those people.
Love what you just said about surrounding yourself with the right people in the right community. What can you do to build a community like that? What does that mean? Unpack it.
Whew, the whole let's unpack that. I believe that your circumference, your circumstances, your community, your three C's I call them, are very important to your success, right? And so, building community, one of the things I say to my actors is everybody wants community, but people aren't willing to go out there and foster community. And I think everybody can feel that. Like we all want to be needed. We all want to be like cool around. We want to be invited to the party. We want to, but people won't foster it. People won't go out there and put themselves out there and make those calls. Or, I was thinking today that I have a couple other business guys who are in the field. I was like, maybe we should all jump on a call and just talk about what's happening in our business, not in a competition way, not in a, but like, oh, maybe we can help each other somehow, or maybe just hearing how that, other things that are going on for other business bros, might be kind of cool. That's fostering community. And I respect these guys in their own right, right? And it's not like I got to get a mentor, but like just building community that way. I think it's so necessary. Now, on the same thing, if I were around somebody that is constantly saying there's always every level's another devil, everything I do is hard, you know what I mean? Gosh, oh, this sucks, all that stuff, that will also constitute the ceiling that I'm getting, or the vibration, or that is there. So yeah, I'm sorry. I love these answers. We're talking about mindset, so I can go off. You gotta pull me back, Mark. You gotta pull me back.
Okay, here's a question for you. In light of
okay.
what you just said, someone's listening or watching, they realize, crap. And they're thinking of their community and they're like, I got some negative freaking Nellies in here. What do you do? And maybe it isn't, I'll say eloquently clean out your community. Maybe it's not even eloquent. It's just cutting off relationships and ties. What do you do to clean out your community if you realize parts of it are negative?
Yeah, two things, right? And so I want to be very clear about this. If I can paint a visual for you, and you all, I just love mindset. So excuse me, I get so excited about this topic. But I want to paint a visual for you. If you can think of strawberries, two strawberries, like on a vine, one of the things is if one strawberry gets mold and it's touching the other one, mold will get on the other strawberry. Right? Does that make sense? And that's why it's so important. If you think about that as your friends, that things seep off what they're thinking and doing. And you must be careful about, saying other people's words, because when you say other people's words, you take on their beliefs, you take on their thoughts, and you take on their fears. And so that's very important about that. So that's why it's so incredibly important to make sure that you are cleaning out your community. And I'm going to give you a tip on that. Cleaning out your community and being very clear on that. But because mediocre is full, and you don't want to always be around people who are just like, or negative, like, keep that. I always call it the cult of average. The cult of average. That's number one. Number two is, here's what everybody, and this is just Dajuan's way of thinking, is everybody thinks that I have to go out there and change other people, or I have to leave or cut off or stuff like that. What you don't realize is that work on yourself, change yourself, because that's really the only person you can change. And inadvertently, by you changing and raising your vibration, you will see a different change in your community. You will. Those people will not want to be around you because they're like, oh, that Mark thinks he's too good for us right now. Or what, oh, look at what you can't. Some people, everybody can't go where you're growing. They just can't.
That is a beautiful way to end. We have covered a lot of ground in a short period of time. Yeah. That being said, someone's watching or listening, like, I'm digging what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down. If you were to say, when it comes to having a successful mindset in tough times, whether it's reiterating something you said or touching on something new, if you were to say, look, if you're going to do it, at least do this one thing, at least do this, what would you tell people to do?
Gratitude. Gratitude is the attitude. Honestly, if you did nothing else and you sat in gratitude and just really started to think about it, like, I'm so sorry. I'm so grateful that I even started a business. 90+% of people don't aren't entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? I'm just so happy that I have, somebody asking me to be on their podcast. I'm just so happy to be thinking about like the money I am making, because I know to be true, you can't build on any success that you don't acknowledge. And if you don't acknowledge it by saying thank you, you're not going to get more of it. Gratitude is definitely the way to go, I would say.
This has been awesome, Dajuan. And if people want to find you online, where's the best place or places to go?
At Dajuan Johnson or at Think Bigger Coaching on Instagram. I was just say that right on Instagram.
I was going to ask.
Or my websites. I have at DajuanJohnson.com or thinkbigger.com.
This has been excellent. Thank you again, Dajuan. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And scene.
And how'd it go? How was that for you?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.